All right, here we are. It's Friday. Welcome to Richard Wheeler Works. I'm Richard Wheeler, and this is a stream where I work. And again, we're going to be sticking with this work stream of looking at military propaganda, PR on Instagram. Although we may, I know on Wednesday I talked about going over to Pinterest and seeing what was going on over there. So maybe we'll sort of split it up. Just so you remember, you can catch old episodes as long as they're up, which is about 6 weeks on Twitch, or you can go over to YouTube and look for Richard Wheeler Works and find a playlist that has previous episodes. But let's get back into some saved stuff here. Look at some of the things we found. I just want to call out a couple things that possibly useful. You know, there's this a closed world we're looking at. We're looking at a relatively small set of images and videos that have been produced by these organizations. And so, you know, we're talking a little bit about fan sites on Wednesday. The last episode, today's Friday, February 5th, 2021. And you know, so you see the same thing reposted. So here's an example, right? We have this same image of a guy looking through a camera. This is from the STA Patrol OP battery. That's long-range patrol, surveillance, reconnaissance, joint fires. This is part of the Royal Artillery. These are known as special observers. And I'm trying to remember if I looked through all this. I don't think I did. But you'll notice, right, that this post, we have two views here. One, this trainee, I'm assuming, learning to use this very long-lensed camera. That lens, by the way, if you're not super familiar with photography, that could cost anywhere between $8,000 and $30,000. I'm not quite sure. We could figure that out. But that's not, you know, oh, I'll spend a couple $100 on a lens, right? Some of this stuff is very equipment based, right? It's not something you're gonna just get off the shelf, per se. And but here is what he's doing, right? This is a setup that's training. What are we seeing here? What is this about? Well, one of the things with these telephoto lenses is that you can, because of the depth of field of the lens and the other characteristics of the lens, you can look through grates, screens, and it looks like something where, you know, to your eye, you're not going to make any, be able to see through it at this distance, but the characteristics of the optics allow you to basically shoot directly through that at a faraway target. So it's a different kind of. So what you can learn here about these visual surveillance practices is that you develop a different point of view about where to place yourself in order to see things, a point of view that is different from the one you bring to your everyday life. If you were, you know, taking a picture of your family on a, you know, holiday, you're not going to shoot it with a 700 millimeter lens through a grate that's built in a false wall or something like that. Maybe you will. I don't know. That if that's what you do on holiday, you know, that's up to you. Here's the same image from the United Kingdom Royal Artillery account, and notice they have credited the original poster, right, the State Patrol's account. And I find this fascinating. I was texting with some friends about this earlier. So this is all about this Defense School of Photography course that's training operators to be surveillance operators. Okay. Fancy a unique and rewarding couple of years with access to unconventional training opportunities. I mean, that's kind of crazy. Like, up to a few years ago, just average civilian would have no idea what was going on. And here is, you know, a whole bunch of stuff we can learn uh, about this kind of world of being a surveillance operator. We can learn that there's this course. The foundation course is a 12-day course. All right, well, you can start to reverse engineer then. Like, what could you do in a 12-day course? How many hours a day could you be doing? Military, it could be a 12-hour-a-day course, but I doubt it because this isn't initial training. Like, initial training, yes, you're up 12, 16 hours more a day, or, some sort of special forces assessment or selection or training like that. But a camera course, they're not going to run you 12 hours a day. Maybe there's homework at night. I mean, there'll be some night training to this, evidently, or obviously, because you're obvious to me, I should say. I shouldn't be so presumptuous to say obviously, but you got to learn to operate at night if you're going to be a surveillance operator. And the next SRPC begins 31 August 2020. Well, we don't necessarily know what SRPC means. We could do some Googling around for that. 473 Sphinx Special Observation Post Battery. These are the special observers of the Royal Artillery of the military of the United Kingdom. Here we've got their email and a phone number, which isn't going to help you if you're not in the military. But what that could help you do is maybe find other things about this course on the open internet. Now, you can't copy and paste out of Instagram, but let's just go over here to 01748. Do this as a 01748 87. Right now, maybe this is in a document 5639 that describes the course, that tells us something about the unit. You see what I mean? This is how you start to break it down. Oh, interesting. We can see them on Facebook. Right? We can this is this this is one of these Instagram aggregator sites. So that might be interesting. And govserve.org. Pickbone. There's a lot of aggregator things going here, right? High risk Instagram posts from grahamtower.com. I wonder what that's about. Well, we'll never know. Show all images. Well, so we can find their Facebook page. So these two images that we just saw, also on their Facebook page. Right? It's a relatively closed world social media. But what am I looking for? I'm looking for inconsistencies. I'm looking for, okay, well, they showed it here, but not there. Let's take a look at this Facebook page. Just pulling on the threads, really. Just taking a look. Here we go. The first phase of SRPC is 3 weeks. So now we're starting to figure out some things that go into that course that said started August 2020. For more information on how to become a reserve special observer, that's interesting. It's available to reserve soldiers in the United Kingdom. Contact the HAC. So, this is where, I'm on the mobile here. There's a limit to copying and pasting and making sense of all this. But, if I were to do this on the desktop, I would, be copying and pasting and making a matrix or a list, or just trying to capture acronyms, proper names, things like telephone numbers, email addresses, URLs, hashtags, making sense of it all. What are the selectors or identifiers that we would use to learn more about observation in the UK MOD, such as these hashtags here. Recce, what's the difference between Recce and Recon, you may ask? Recce is more of a, you see it more in British Commonwealth militaries, is a term. You'd say reconnaissance in the United States. Recce, you'd say more in the United Kingdom, in Australia, in New Zealand, in South Africa, in now defunct Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe. That's where you'd see Recce. Surveillance, SRPC, still trying to figure out what that is. LRPs, that's long range reconnaissance patrols. LRCC, I'm not quite sure what this is. SCBC, don't know what that is. SEER is survival, evasion, resistance, and escape. JTAC is joint tactical air controller. Joint fires means things that you shoot. 473 is the unit. So, right, you'd go through and sort of say, okay, what is all this stuff? Is any of this how I would figure out how to see other pictures of these things? So let's just look at this Lateo, because so Sphinx could be a lot of things, right? A lot of things are going to get tagged Sphinx. Let's just, like the Sphinx is probably going to get tagged Sphinx. Let's go back. Sorry, I didn't hit the right one. Okay, so that's not helping, although it's always helpful to see Bernie Sanders memes. So Sphinx might not be, but what is this Lateo? That's, no, also not helpful, because it means something else in Japanese, right? So, okay, not helpful there. See, you're trying to find a hashtag that has the least amount of chatter in it. Special observer might be a good one. Photography, that's not useful. Special observer might be. Now this one, this is a picture they use all the time, or some picture like this. But this is interesting, right? We see completion of the undertake 3 weeks observation. So, right, like once we start to knit all these posts together, we could start to say, how long is the initial training to become a physical surveillance operator in this context, right? To be a special observer for the Royal Artillery. Now, I know through previous work that this is interesting to me for the If I Could See What You See project, because this is a kind of physical surveillance training that's, well, first of all, you can find information about it, but it's unique, and it's about seeing things, is which generally what I'm interested in. It's about photography. It's about using optics, right? There are things that are similar to sniper training in special observer training, and there are things that are different, and I find that part interesting, right? Like, where are the similarities, where are the differences, right? Because you could perhaps find some of the curriculum in one discipline and some of the curriculum in another discipline, right? And furthermore, we were looking before at the Fernsperren of the Bundeswehr, or the Guetteur of the 13e Régiment Dragon Parachutiste, right? There are these other militaries that do things slightly the same, slightly different, right? So it's the kind of job on one axis, and then the military or organization on the other axis, and then you can start to piece together what is the work like. right? So you see here, a lot of these are reposts, Royal Artillery reposts from the STA Patrol's Instagram site. All right. It's a lot of stuff. Okay. Challenge, commit, accomplish. Yes, exciting. Very exciting. All right. So not too many things under the Special Observer hashtag, and not many of them are interesting. What's this? Crypto Museum. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. This is showing you some communications kit that may or may not still be in use. We don't know who the unconventional soldier POD is, right? But they tag this. They think it's, yeah, this is interesting, right? Oh, wait a second. This is cool. Here's a podcast by former Special Observer. Oh, whoa. This is cool. I am into this. Because look, now we're seeing, so this is cool. I like where I found myself here. Because now we're seeing individual photos, personal photos. We can start to figure out maybe individuals, the stuff you see that's the sort of approved for release, propaganda PR stuff. There's only so much you can get out of that. But now we can maybe see some insidery kind of stuff, right? Huh. Early remote ground sensor. Okay, so this is probably not in use anymore, right? But this tells you something about the mission, right? Because you could probably find stuff about this ground sensor and say, they're not using this anymore, but they're using an updated version of this, right? The question is the mission, the subset of the mission, still the same that requires the use of a tool like this, right? So you can start to piece things together through time this way. And then there's this whole podcast, right? Which is possibly something that's pretty cool. Oh, whoa. Okay, here's somebody who was on operations during the Falkland War. And, so you can hear about this job in the context, Operation Banner, Northern Ireland, right? Transition from... Okay. Huh. All right, well, this is stuff I'm going to look at later for sure, listen to. Books in my Bergen. Bergen is British military slang for rucksack. Backpack. Rucksack is American military slang for backpack. Backpack is the word normal people use. Interesting. Equipment. Oh, hey. In this episode, we cover the challenges of sighting and digging. So, imagine, part of the purpose for the If I Could See What You See project is making visible surveillance and intelligence practices as a way to demystify it. This is sort of an anti-enemy of the state, anti-Edward Snowden, WikiLeaks type project. Maybe anti is too strong a word, but it's saying, this is not a hidden, secretive world that you can't see anything of. There are pieces of it all over that you can find. And one of the ways that intelligence and surveillance works is through picking up pieces and fitting them together. It's a puzzle solving discipline. So I'm just using basic orientation, and it's not even techniques like with a capital T, just small t techniques. Like I'm just going to find a bunch of stuff and fit it together, right? In order to make a training program that you could train yourself like a surveillance operator. And therefore you would know through the learning and know through the doing about this world. So in this case, here you can imagine these are like guest lectures in that course, right? These are windows into that world. And so if you're imagining that 12-day course that we just saw, right? That 12-day course that we saw earlier in our time together today, part of that 12-day course, if it's 8 hours a day, we'll just say, and there's an hour for, let's say, 6 hours a day of actual instructional material, so that's 72 hours. We just found in this podcast potentially, 4 of those hours right there that's telling you, okay, these are the challenges, these are the things. You combine that with some of these images. I'm going to follow this. You combine that with some instructions about tasks to perform yourself, right? Or challenges to perform, like create this is interesting. We saw this HAC. We saw this acronym before, HAC London. This is Honorable Artillery Company. All right. Here we go. I bet this is... Ooh, look at all these. Ooh, interesting. More stuff. Oh, what's this? All right. Many accounts. It all just melds together. Well, let's take a second, though, before we go to... let's... thing the right way. We're going to go to Pinterest, right? Okay. I'm not looking for food. Am I logged in here as me? I have a bunch of different accounts. Some are personal and some are work project related. I think I'm in my personal. Yes, this is all building things. But let's say STA Patrol. See if that comes up just as a... Okay, nothing there. Nope. Well, we're in a new territory here. Let's go for something a little bit more clear. Yeah, there we go. 13e RDP. And, I'm 99.99% sure I saw this over on Instagram. So, what are we seeing here? We're seeing a bunch of this, like, it's cool, they got guns, it's cool stuff that we saw. Not seeing a lot yet. What is this, though? Because this is in German. All right. This is linking back to... Ooh. I never thought of this. That Instagram is or sorry, that, oh, this is a whole nother world, guys. This, deep in the forums. I don't understand how this relates to the 13th RDP, because this is IDF. You can tell by the color of their uniforms and the floppy shift-worthy beret on their helmets and a lot of other things. It must be in the comments. Huh. Well, that's a heck of a lot of work to go through all that. No, that's more of that stuff. Now, well, this would be a lot of work, right? This is just another, it's, one of the things I wonder about as okay. Well, all right, here we go. This is interesting. Using JIM-LR2. I don't know if that's JIM or Jim. Maybe. I mean, everything that has camouflage starts to look the same, right? But this is useful, right? Because now we're learning something about, maybe this is a hide site. Maybe this relates to other images where this operator is in a hide site. And what happened? And then we also learned something about the context for this equipment that they're using, right? It's not telling me where it came from. Okay. Pinterest, I haven't been on it a lot. I don't really have an opinion yet about how useful it is. I might be more interested in doing this on the desktop, just because there's a little bit more real estate to look at things. Yeah, but I'm just seeing a lot of like, soldiers are cool kind of stuff. Not a lot of, stuff that's it. And then there's Conor McGregor, and now it's kind of useless. So not a lot there that's helping me figure out how they work. But it's another view in, and maybe going back and going to that forum and chugging through that forum helps me, right? This is one of the things where you cannot just tell yourself, oh, I'll go into Google and I'll type in the word and I'll go into image search and it'll all just be there. It is not, right? If that is something, if you learn one thing from listening to me today or any other time, that is something to learn. A simple Google search, especially if it's a really low density topic, meaning like it's pretty obscure, and it's not going to do it for you. You are going to have to go in and poke and prod and probe on every single tool you can find. You have to go into Instagram, you have to go into Facebook, you have to go into Pinterest, you have to go into YouTube, you have to go into Vimeo, you have to go into Dailymotion, you have to go into individual news sites, right? You have to search like the BBC, you have to search Agence France Presse, you have to search RT, you have to search, Haaretz. There is like no end to it if you are really trying to find where the information is at, and especially for these kinds of imagery and video searches. The internet is not, it's language based, right? It's much easier for computers to chew through language than it is for computers still to this day to chew through images. Yes, if, it says Special Forces on Instagram, hashtag weapon, it says look for similar stuff, it's going to find similar stuff, And yes, is there machine learning that's working on this? Yes. Is there AI that's working on this? Yes. But it's still pretty crude, right? And, it's not necessarily able to look down at details. And you're not able to circle a thing in an image and say, show me images like this that have this particular bit. Nor are you able to do that at all in video. Is that being worked on in the back end? Certainly it's being worked on the back end. Is YouTube interested in understanding, or Google and YouTube interested in understanding, why are people watching this 1 second part of this 5-hour video? Yes, they're very interested in that. But as a user, as a researcher, as a watcher, do you have the tools to find these things on your own? No, absolutely not. You really, unfortunately, have to keep brute forcing like we've been doing here. Well, with that uplifting thought to go into your weekend, this is Richard Wheeler. I've been working on Richard Wheeler Works. See you soon.